Book of Heaven, Volume 20, November 19th, 1926. How the divine will is agonizing in the midst of creatures, and how it wants to go out of this state. My always lovable Jesus, drawing me into his adorable will, made me see and feel the painful conditions in which the ingratitudes of creatures put him, and sighing with sorrow, he said to me,
"My daughter, the pains of my divine will are unutterable and inconceivable to the human nature. My will is in all creatures, but it is in the nightmare of a terrible and harrowing agony, because instead of giving it dominion, to let it carry out its life in them, they keep it repressed, giving it no freedom to act, to breathe, to palpitate. So the human will acts, it breathes freely, it palpitates as it wants, while mine is there only to serve it, to contribute to their acts, and to remain within their acts, agonizing, suffocated by the rattle of an agony of long centuries. My will writhes inside the creatures in the nightmare of an agony so harrowing, and its writhings are the remorses of conscience, the disillusions, the setbacks, the crosses, the tiredness of life, and everything that can bother the poor creatures. Because it is right that since they keep a divine will crucified and always in the rattle of agony, the divine will call them with its writhing, unable to do otherwise, because it does not have dominion. Who knows whether, entering themselves, in seeing the unhappiness that their bad will brings to them, they might give it a little breath and respite from its harrowing agony. This agony of my will is so painful that my humanity, which wanted to suffer it in the Garden of Gethsemane, reached the point of seeking help from my very apostles, and even that I did not obtain. And the spasm was such that I sweated living blood, and feeling myself succumbing under the enormous weight of the agony of my divine will, so long and terrible, I invoked the help of my celestial Father, saying to him, "Father, if it be possible, let this chalice pass from me." In all the other pains of my passion, as atrocious as they were, I never said, "If it be possible, let this pain pass." On the contrary, on the cross I cried out, I thirst for pains." But in this pain of the agony of the supreme will, I felt all the weight of an agony so long, all the torment of a divine will that agonizes, that writhes in the human generations. What sorrow! There is no sorrow that can equal this. Now the supreme fiat wants to get out. It is tired, and at any cost it wants to get out of this agony so prolonged. And if you hear of chastisements, of cities collapsed, of destructions, this is nothing other than the strong writhing of its agony. Unable to bear it any longer, it wants to make the human family feel its painful state and how it writhes strongly within them, without anyone who has compassion for it. And making use of violence with its writhing, it wants them to feel that it exists in them, but it does not want to be in agony anymore. It wants freedom, dominion. It wants to carry out its life in them. What disorder in society, my daughter, because my will does not reign. Their souls are like houses without order. Everything is upside down. The stench is so horrible, more than that of a putrefied cadaver. And my will, with its immensity, such that it is not given to it to withdraw even from one heartbeat of creature, agonizes in the midst of so many evils. And this happens in the general order of all. In the particular order, then, it is even more. In the religious, in the clergy, in those who call themselves Catholics, my will not only agonizes, but is kept in a state of lethargy, as if it had no life. Oh, how much harder this is! In fact, in the agony at least I writhe, I have an outlet, I make myself heard as existing in them, even though agonizing. But in the state of lethargy there is total immobility. It is the continued state of death. And so only the appearances, the clothing of religious life can be seen, because they keep my will in lethargy. And because they keep it in lethargy, their interior is drowsy, as if the light, the good, were not for them. And if they do anything externally, it is empty of divine life, and it resolves into the smoke of vainglory, of self-esteem, of pleasing other creatures. And I, and my supreme volition, while being inside, go out of their works. My daughter, what affront! How I would want everyone to feel my tremendous agony, the continued rattle, the lethargy in which they put my will, because they want to do their own and not mine. They do not want to let it rain. They do not want to know it. And this is why it wants to burst its banks with its writhing, so that, if they do not want to know it and receive it by ways of love, they may know it by way of justice. Tired of an agony of centuries, my will wants to get out, and therefore it prepares two ways. The triumphant way, which are its knowledges, its prodigies, and all the good that the kingdom of the supreme fiat will bring, and the way of justice, for those who do not want to know it as triumphant. It is up to the creatures to choose the way in which they want to receive it.
Thank you for being a part of our community here at Divine Will app. If you enjoy listening to Jesus's lessons on how to live in the divine will, please give this video a thumbs up. Your likes help us reach more souls yearning to live in the kingdom of the divine will. We'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections, so drop a comment below. Your insights not only enrich our community, but also inspire others on their spiritual journey. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By joining us, you're helping to spread the news of the kingdom of the divine will, so that together we can bring His kingdom to reign on earth as it is in heaven. In the divine will, always.